What is MOCEE? It's an acronym, and it stands for Mutual Offset Credit Exchange Exemption. To know what this means, look at what the Constitution says about our money. In Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution for the United States of America, it states, "No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title." The states must pay all their debts in gold or silver, and the Congress has to operate on the credit of the states and the people, their good faith in credit. The founders did this so that the federal government would always be in debt to the states and the people, and we would always, in theory, be in control of their spending. He who owns the actual assets, in this case gold and silver, also owns the credit derived from the asset. In a credit debt system, all debt is offset by equal credit, and this is a zero-sum accounting. National debt only accumulates when the credit is not added to the equation, and this is what has been going on since 1913. With the Federal Reserve Act in 1913 came the Federal Reserve Note, an IOU. This is when our money, gold and silver, was pushed aside for a privately owned bank IOU, the Federal Reserve Note. In 1933, Franklin Roosevelt declared the United States Incorporated bankrupt and claimed the American people were obligated to pay the debts of his bankrupt corporation. Without applying the credit all these years, the national debt now shows over $21 trillion. This debt obligation is cleared up when the credit is applied and has been prepaid using the 20,000 tons of gold illegally confiscated from Americans during FDR's administration. This gold was used to set up the Federal Reserve Bank, the World Bank, the International Bank of Reconstruction and Development. It was also accrued via the non-consensual exchange of your silver for their IOUs. The means they propose to repay us for our gold and silver is called Mutual Offset Credit Exchange Exemption. You owe them money for services rendered, and they owe you money because of their theft of your silver and gold. So it makes sense to offset these mutual debt obligations. They also owe you for commandeering and using your persons in breach of trust and commercial service contract. This is how MOCEE is supposed to work. I owe you 10, you owe me 20, so we do the bookkeeping, offset the debts, and voila, you still owe me 10, and I am scot-free. Average Americans should have never had to pay a dime of any mortgage, tax bill, service, or loan from any commercial bank or U.S. corporation, ever. This is, with respect to the gold and silver thefts, memorialized as 12 U.S.C. 95A, Regulation of Transactions in Foreign Exchange of Gold and Silver Property Transfers, Vested Interests, Enforcement, and Penalties. Now remember, you are a non-resident alien with respect to them. Our federal employees admitted to stealing our privately held gold to the tune of 20,000 tons. Then they stole our silver by exchanging it for Federal Reserve notes, which are nothing but paper IOUs, and they did it at face value with interest assessed against us for the privilege. See the National Banking Emergency Act of 1933, which sets up the unconstitutional one-for-one currency exchange. Our silver dollars in exchange for their paper IOUs as if they were of equal value. All U.S. federal corporations, the big banks, Walmart, Microsoft, etc., are federally bound franchises through the Corporation Act of 1870 via their IRS employee identification number and Federal Reserve business bank accounts. They are all obligated to deliver goods and services to us to offset any debt we may accrue. We order the goods or services. They total the cost and adjust or offset the bottom line to zero and release the prepaid items to us. Be it a house or a college loan or a car or a utility bill, anything addressed to you qualifies for offset. The way they put it is that all commercial public debt obligations are owed by the United States Incorporated and its actual franchises, which is the true obligor in every transaction taking place in the commercial realm in this country. So, as you can now see, it is impossible for the living man or woman who are Americans and not U.S. citizens or citizens of the United States to owe any U.S. corporation anything because any debts charged to you are already prepaid. Any debt which is addressed to any fictitious U.S. person in your name is eligible for offset. Corporations are obligated to pay back their debt to you via mutual offset credit exchange exemption, and then apply the transitory loss as a tax credit. Any bill or claim or lien or statement addressed to your name in any all capital letters, form, or style whatsoever is a debt addressed to a U.S. federal public person, not to you. You are not obligated to pay it. The corporation presenting the bill is obligated to offset it as a tax credit. This is how they are supposed to be repaying you for the gold they stole from your grandparents and the silver they stole from you and your parents both. Whatever bills addressed to you that you choose to offset are literally prepaid and are part of the debt owed to you as an American. Such offset was guaranteed under the National Emergency Banking Act of 1934 and defined as a mutual offset credit exchange exemption. This option of paying public debts is what Americans have been owed since 1934. It was published as House Joint Resolution 192 and subsequently Public Law 7310 was enacted. In Chapter 48, Section 112 was added to the United States statutes at large, and numerous sections were added to the federal code. Most importantly, 12 U.S.C. 95A. You must declare and record your birthright political status as an American to qualify for mutual offset credit exchange exemption. It's all prepaid, and now you know how it was prepaid. You don't owe them, they owe you. We are the principals, owed all the treaties, all the commercial service contracts and the guarantees, all the prerogatives of the lawful sovereigns, all the published remedies, exemptions, and credit swaps. We are also owed payment of all our validated debts. All public debts and private debts are subject to immediate and permanent redemption through debt redemption service centers to be provided in cooperation with the debtors, that's the members of the U.S. and municipal United States Congresses, their principals and trustees. You can begin the process of your debt redemption at MissouriAssembly.org by clicking the MOCEE button and contacting our debt redemption